5 days before my wedding, I came home to find his closet half empty and a note on the kitchen counter. "Don't take this personally," it said. "I've lived on potential long enough. I need stability." Stability. That was the word he used after 3 years together. After promises. After picking out rings. After my sister had already flown in for the ceremony. Translation? He left me for his boss. A 43-year-old CEO with a corner office, a driver, and a reputation for getting whatever she wanted. And apparently that included my fiancé. But that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was the way he looked at me when I confronted him. Not guilt. Not shame. Pity. Like I was some naive girl chasing dreams while he had finally grown up. That look, it didn't break me. It rebuilt me. Because 2 years later, I stood at his wedding. Invited by him. And the moment he saw the man standing next to me, his entire expression cracked. My name is Maya Bennett, and at 31, I had learned something most people never do. Revenge isn't loud. Real revenge is quiet, calculated, and patient. The venue was stunning. Oceanfront terrace. White orchids everywhere. String quartet playing softly in the background. It looked expensive, but not effortless. You could always tell the difference when someone was trying to prove something. Ryan, my ex, stood near the entrance greeting guests, his arm wrapped possessively around his bride. Victoria Hale, his former boss, now his wife. She wore a sleek ivory gown, no veil, no softness. Just confidence. The same confidence she had when she told me 2 years ago, "You need a man who can provide, sweetheart." I remember smiling politely back then. Inside, I was bleeding out. But tonight? Tonight was different. Because when her eyes shifted past me and landed on the man beside me, her champagne glass trembled. Just slightly. But I saw it. Everyone did. Standing next to me was Adrian Cole. Tall. Calm. Impossibly composed. And not just successful. He was the CEO of Cole International Holdings, the same firm that had just acquired Victoria's tech logistics company the week before. Ryan didn't know yet. Victoria definitely didn't. And that realization was crawling across her face in real time. I didn't smile. I didn't need to. A mutual friend rushed over with a sugary voice. "Maya." Oh my God, it's been forever. Fake warmth. Fake excitement. I let her talk. Then I turned slightly. "This is Adrian." Victoria stepped forward automatically, extending her hand with practiced elegance. Adrian shook it. Then he said pleasantly, "You're the one who called off her wedding 2 weeks before the vows, right?" Her smile dropped. Just for a second. But that second was everything. Ryan noticed too. His eyes flicked between us, trying to calculate something that wasn't adding up. And that's when I realized. They had no idea what was about to happen. We hadn't even sat down when the wedding coordinator whispered something into Victoria's ear. Her posture stiffened instantly. She forced a laugh and turned toward us. "Would you like to join the head table?" Adrian tilted his head slightly. "Is that where you're seating the woman you replaced days before her wedding?" No anger. No sarcasm. Just precision. I touched his arm gently. "We'll sit where we're assigned," I said. And walked away. Let them sit with that discomfort. Let them wonder. Our table was 2 rows back. As soon as we sat down, Adrian placed a slim envelope in front of me. My name written in gold script. "What's this?" I asked quietly. "The reason you got invited," he said. I frowned. "What do you mean?" His lips curved slightly. "She sent me a merger proposal 2 months ago. Used her married name. Dropped Ryan's connections. Said she'd personally guarantee the partnership." My stomach flipped. "You're kidding." "They're drowning," he said calmly. "Debt. Vendor losses. Logistics inflation. She thought I'd save them." I opened the envelope. Inside wasn't a wedding invitation. It was a contract. And a trap. I looked up slowly. "You bought their debt." Adrian met my eyes. "Technically, you did. I just arranged it." My pulse thundered in my ears. I thought it was over 2 years ago. I was wrong. This was only the beginning. The DJ called for speeches. Ryan grabbed the microphone first, smiling like nothing in the world could touch him. Then his eyes landed on me. "And Maya," he said into the mic, "you look really well. No hard feelings, right? Life moves on." The room went quiet. Every head turned toward me. I didn't stand. I didn't answer. Adrian leaned toward me and said, just loud enough for nearby tables to hear, "Should I tell him we own his company's debt now, or wait until dessert?" Ryan froze mid-smile. Victoria went pale. And, in that moment, I felt something shift. Not anger. Not satisfaction. Something colder. Because what I had planned next wasn't revenge. It was transformation. And they were about to watch it happen. Ryan laughed. That shaky, forced kind of laugh people use when they're hoping something isn't true. "I'm sorry, what?" he said, lowering the microphone. He stepped down from the stage, eyes locked on Adrian. Victoria followed right behind him, her voice sharp and low. "You bought our debt?" Adrian didn't even blink. He folded his napkin neatly beside his plate, like we were discussing the weather. "Not me," he said calmly. "Maya." Ryan's head snapped toward me. For a second, I saw it. Fear. Real fear. And that's when I realized something important. 2 years ago, I was the one begging for reassurance. Tonight, they were. Ryan pulled out a chair across from us and sat down without asking. "What is this?" he said under his breath. "Some kind of joke?" I leaned back slightly, studying him. He looked the same. Same jawline. Same hair. Same expensive watch he used to brag about. But he didn't feel the same. He felt small. "You remember 2 years ago?" I asked quietly. His jaw tightened. "Maya, this isn't. You said you needed stability." I continued. "Security. A future." Victoria crossed her arms. "We built that," she said defensively. "Together." Adrian glanced at her. "Did you?" he asked. Silence. The kind that suffocates. Ryan leaned closer to me. "What do you want?" There it was. The assumption. That I was here for revenge. I shook my head slowly. "I didn't come for anything," I said. "You invited me." Victoria's eyes narrowed. "You brought him to humiliate us." I almost laughed. But that wasn't even the worst part. Because humiliation wasn't the goal. Understanding was. "You humiliated me," I said softly, publicly. "Remember? When you announced your relationship 2 weeks after leaving me?" Ryan's face flushed. That was different. Was it? He didn't answer. Because he couldn't. Before the tension could snap any further, the next speech started. Victoria's maid of honor took the mic. We turned toward the stage, but I could still feel Ryan watching me, trying to figure out how much I knew, how much power I had, how much danger he was in. And honestly, that uncertainty was more satisfying than any revenge fantasy I'd ever had. Adrian leaned toward me slightly. "They're expecting the bank call tonight," he murmured. My heart skipped. "Tonight?" He nodded. "They won't sleep." A chill ran through me. Not fear. Anticipation. Because what happened next would change everything. Victoria tried to recover her composure for the rest of dinner. Laughing too loudly. Touching Ryan constantly. Performing happiness. But every few minutes, her eyes drifted back to us. Every time Adrian leaned close to whisper something to me, her shoulders stiffened. Ryan kept checking his phone under the table. Waiting. Dreading. And I realized something in that moment. I wasn't here to hurt them. I was here to let them watch. Watch who I became. Watch what I built. Watch what they lost. Halfway through the reception, Adrian touched my hand. "Ready to dance?" he asked. I nodded. As we walked onto the floor, conversations quieted around us. People noticed confidence. They noticed power. And Adrian moved like he owned the room. Because he did. His hand settled at my waist, warm and steady. "You didn't tell them about tomorrow, did you?" he asked quietly. I shook my head. His lips curved. "Good." My stomach fluttered. "Is it finalized?" "Press release is scheduled for 8 a.m., he said. "Every major business outlet." I swallowed. "And Victoria?" He glanced toward her across the room. She's not listed on a single asset, he said calmly. Not the house. Not the company. Nothing. My breath caught. 2 years ago, she took everything from me. Tomorrow? She would have nothing. I thought I'd feel triumphant. But instead, I felt calm. Because this wasn't about destroying them. It was about proving something to myself. That I was never the girl who wasn't enough. They just couldn't see my future. We left before the cake cutting. I didn't need closure from speeches or apologies. The real moment was coming. As the car pulled up, I glanced back one last time. Ryan stood near the bar, phone pressed to his ear, shoulders tense. Victoria paced near the DJ booth, dress clutched in her hand, whispering urgently to someone. They knew something was wrong. They just didn't know how bad. And honestly, neither did I. Because morning was going to be brutal. That night, I didn't sleep. Not really. I lay in Adrian's penthouse guest room staring at the ceiling, watching the city lights bleed through the curtains. 2 years of pain, of rebuilding, of proving everyone wrong. And it all came down to a single morning. I thought I'd feel excitement. Victory. Something dramatic. But instead, there was just this quiet, steady calm. Like the storm had already passed, and I was finally standing in the sunlight. A soft knock came at the door around midnight. You awake? Adrian asked. Yeah. He stepped inside holding 2 glasses of bourbon. He handed me one. You okay? He asked gently. I nodded. I thought I'd feel more. I searched for the word. Happy, he offered. Something like that. He leaned against the window. You don't feel anything yet, he said. Because it's not over. He was right. Because morning was when reality would hit them. And when it did, everything would collapse. At exactly 8:03 a.m., my phone started vibrating nonstop on the nightstand. Messages. Emails. Notifications. I grabbed it with shaking fingers. And there it was. Cole International Holdings announces full acquisition of VCheck's Logistics. CEO Ryan Mercer to step down pending financial audit. My breath caught in my throat. It was real. By 9:30 a.m., business news outlets were running the story everywhere. By 11 a.m., leaked internal memos started circulating. Debt restructuring. Vendor losses. Operational mismanagement. By 2 p.m., Ryan's resignation was trending on financial media feeds. And by 5:00 p.m., my phone showed 17 missed calls from him. I didn't answer, but I saved the voicemails. Because this part was personal. The first voicemail came at 9:12 a.m. Maya, hey, I just saw the news. I'm sure this is some kind of misunderstanding. Call me. The second was more tense. Okay, if this is about last night, we can talk. You don't need to do this. By the 10th message, his voice had changed. Cracked. Panicked. Maya, please, they're saying I'm being investigated. I could lose everything. I stared at the screen. 2 years ago, I said those same words to him. I could lose everything. And he walked away. But that wasn't even the moment that hit hardest. That came 2 nights later. 10:42 p.m. A knock on my apartment door. Slow. Hesitant. I already knew who it was before I opened it. Victoria stood there. No makeup. Hair messy. Designer coat, thrown over wrinkled clothes like she'd been wearing them for 2 days straight. Her eyes were red. Swollen. Broken. For a second, I almost didn't recognize her. The woman who once looked at me with superiority was gone. What are you doing here? I asked quietly. Her voice came out in a whisper. I didn't know. I said nothing. You're with him? She asked, glancing past me into the apartment. You knew this whole time? I met her eyes. I didn't know, I said. I rebuilt. Tears spilled down her cheeks instantly. I made a mistake, she choked. I thought Ryan was stable. I thought he could give me security, and now. Her voice shattered. I have nothing, she sobbed. He's blaming me for everything. I let her talk. I let her cry. Because 2 years ago, no one let me. She took a shaky step closer. Maya, please, can we just talk? And that's when I felt it. Not anger, not hatred, closure. Because I finally understood something. She didn't steal my life. She revealed who didn't belong in it. I loved him, I said softly. I know, she whispered. No. I shook my head. You don't. Her face crumpled. I loved him when he had nothing. I continued. When we were eating instant noodles and splitting rent. My chest tightened, but my voice stayed steady. You loved him when he looked successful. Silence fell between us. Heavy. Truth always is. Then she reached for my hand, and instinctively, I stepped back. Her fingers froze midair. You left me for a bank account, I said quietly. Her breathing hitched. I became the bank. Tears streamed down her face. And in that moment, I saw it. Regret. Real regret. But it was too late. Because what happened next would change both of us forever. She stared at me like she was seeing a stranger. And, in a way, she was. Because the woman standing in front of her wasn't the same one she had quietly dismissed 2 years ago. Back then, I was hopeful. Soft. Waiting for someone else to choose me. Now? I had already chosen myself. Maya, please, she whispered. I don't have anywhere else to go. For a split second, my heart pulled. Not toward her. Toward the version of me who would have helped. Who would have sacrificed again. Who would have tried to fix things that were never her responsibility. But that version of me was gone. You made a choice, I said gently. Now you have to live with it. Her lips trembled. I thought he was secure, she said. I thought he could protect me. I nodded slowly. And I thought love was enough, I replied. We stood there in silence. 2 women. 2 different mistakes. 2 different outcomes. Then she said something I didn't expect. Do you love Adrian? The question caught me off guard. I paused. Because the answer mattered. Not to her. To me. I respect him, I said honestly. I trust him. And he never asked me to shrink so he could feel bigger. Fresh tears slid down her face. That's love, she whispered. Maybe it was. Or maybe it was just what love was supposed to feel like all along. Safe. Equal. Steady. She wiped her cheeks with the back of her hand, trying to regain some dignity. I lost everything, she said quietly. I looked at her for a long moment. No, I said. You lost what was never yours. Her brows pulled together. The money. The company. The status. I continued. That was Ryan's illusion, not your foundation. She swallowed hard. What do I do now? And there it was. The question beneath everything. Not about Ryan. Not about the company. About survival. I exhaled slowly. You rebuild, I said. Her eyes searched mine. Like you did. I nodded. Yes. But this time, build something that's actually yours. For the first time since she arrived, her shoulders relaxed slightly. Not fixed. Not healed. But grounded. And in that moment, I realized something surprising. I didn't hate her anymore. Because hate requires attachment. And I was finally free. She turned to leave, then hesitated. I am sorry, she said without looking back. I believed her. And that was enough. I closed the door gently behind her. Not out of anger, but closure. A week later, the investigation into Ryan went public. Financial misreporting, vendor manipulation, contract inflation. His reputation collapsed almost overnight. People who once praised him suddenly didn't know his name. I didn't celebrate. I didn't need to. Because his downfall wasn't my victory. My growth was. That night, Adrian and I stood on his balcony, overlooking the city. You're quiet, he said. I smiled slightly. I thought revenge would feel bigger, I admitted. He studied me. And I leaned against the railing, feeling the cool air on my skin. It doesn't, I said. It feels peaceful. He nodded. That's how you know you won. I looked up at him. No, I said softly. That's how I know I healed. 2 years ago, I thought losing Ryan was the worst thing that could happen to me. But now I understand. It was the best. Because his betrayal forced me to become someone stronger. Someone independent. Someone unstoppable. And sometimes, when I replay everything in my mind, I realize something almost poetic. Victoria didn't steal my future. She cleared the path to it. So if you're watching this, and someone walked away from you, let them. Because the right people don't choose someone else over you. And the wrong people? They're just part of your evolution. I didn't lose a man. I found myself. And that was worth everything.